Okay.
Oh,
I'm not crying. We're
all
not
right.
crying. It's fine. That's
Good
one way
behind
to
the
start a
scenes.
podcast. If
Just relate
just
to.
in case you got through all of this, all the unhinged and the seriousness, then there's a bit at the end where we're just we lost the plot.
Going off. Yeah. Beatrice, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am badass. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's been
You've got a great way of bringing up like the energy. I don't even know who that was anymore. We
it's
should not be in a
mutual
room
beneficial energy. No, we absolutely should be in a room together. I think we need more people like you and myself in the world, just people who are willing to give their energy and just promote being or feeling good and just being in a good mood for no reason at all. We have a ton to be upset about, but it's rare that people are able to just get in a good mood instantly and just on call. It's a skill, I feel.
I could be wrong here, but like I think on my end, it's for being in hospitality for like as long as I had been before this.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. I think for me, it was like instructing martial arts. And so I could have a bad day, a good day, but once you're on the mat, you're teaching, you got to be able to turn it on. You got to be able to switch it, like high energy, high movements, and just smile and give people a good experience.
At least as an instructor, you could kick ass. So if you had a bad day, you're like, oh, sorry, you should have been watching. Why were you not watching?
My foot just accidentally hit you while you were standing absolutely still. Like, I'm so sorry. This is so bad. I'm so terrible. Beatrice, you bring out the best and worst. It's going to be a great day. Fantastic.
This is the second day in a row I've been told this, and I don't know what to make out of that.
We're going to make an episode. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to stick to. But, all right. But Beatrice, kind of leaning on the idea of just being unhinged and being in a good mood after doing a little digging deep into your brand, that's really what you're about. It's about being able to stand out from the crowd and being able to put people on a different pedestal for their business than they originally thought. And I just want to get a better idea of where that concept came from. I know you come from a background of operations and hospitality, but is there a deeper purpose behind that? Is it something that you've experienced or learned along the way? Kind of walk me through what that looks like for you, or what that did look like for you.
So what you're saying is like how the standing
idea
out,
came
like
to
helping
fruition.
business, because they're two different things that, like, hey, I'm trying to help businesses stand out, and how badass Rebrand came to be. They're two different things, although they're interlinked. So
Explain.
The reason why the business exists, and like it'll show up like in the podcast, in the approach to businesses, is the intention to push back against the shoulds that we've been taught, like be it in school, be it in life. When we're young, we still have that curiosity. We still have that that sense of we can do anything. Things that are potentially dangerous. Like I think recently I saw this photo shoot of these really young kids, babies, and they had snakes everywhere. The adults that were like watching, they're like, freaking out, and the kids are just chilling,
they're just
there.
Snakes.
They're just snakes. So I think we've lost something along the way, and the intention is to push back against those social norms, the shoulds that maybe they're not conducive to our growth. So, say for example, in a personal sense, okay, we should, get married, have 2.5 kids, get a house, white picket fence, blah, 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 right? Like that whole train of thought. Or get a degree, get a job, work until you die, that whole thing. And on a business sense, it's like, okay, well, everybody else in the industry is doing X. like, we should be doing that as well. And this is the antithesis of actually standing out, of improving, because in any given industry, there's hundreds of thousands of competitors. Okay, yes, they're all at very different levels. So maybe within that same circle, there's a few. But if you think about industries like accounting, plumbing, or that sort of thing, if you're just going to follow what others in the industry are doing, as like this is the standard practice, without questioning it, without saying, okay, well, how are we going to do this differently? What's our distinct approach? You're not doing yourself justice, and your marketing team, your sales team, anyone that you hire, they're going to struggle. So that's the big why behind all of this. And for a long time,
leaning on the idea of that people buy from people they know, meaning that they're not buying from, there's a phrase that say people don't buy from a logo, they buy from people. And it's based on how you represent yourself through your business, through your branding. Is that essentially what you're leaning towards when you're helping individuals, is trying to be able to get them to bring their personality or their authentic version of their business and their approach out?
Yeah, so it's how they're seen, how they're remembered, not so much as that person, because that's not something that I necessarily recommend, being like, hey, you're the founder, let's make you the voice, you that person. Because if you want to sell, if you want to step back, that's not going to help you, right? It's finding that human side of your business that maybe there's a quirk in your process that, say, for example, the rest of your industry are coming in and, I don't know, doing X, but you come in just a bit beforehand, or the early on approach, the way that you're solving it is different, and you're solving a problem for like a certain demographic or a certain type of people. So like, you're not trying to please everybody. You're trying to be remembered by those few people, being like, oh, this is them. And hell, like, I can relate. They feel like a human, even though, like, it's a brand. But I can see how this fits in my world. How before we started talking just now, we were talking about like, we are shaped by our experiences. We are shaped by the culture, by the people around us, by our upbringing. All of these things, a brand can easily attach to that, but by speaking to the right parts. So it's like, okay, what do we want to speak with? How do we want to be represented in somebody's mind?
And so how does that leverage on the idea of your business and your brand?
Badassery by B. So it steps back into that pushing against those shoulds. The whole kangaroo with the baseball bat, the shades, finishing the video with the smashing of said video with the baseball bat. It is that sense of disruption, but it's like we're trying to look at this at a higher level, but like with grit, that lived grit. So when you first started asking me, like, hey, like, my background is in operations. I've done the thing on, be it handle the finances, be it clean toilets, be it, like all of it, right? And at the end of the day, what really matters is the work and how you want to be represented being reflected on all of those places, but in a way that it's not just you're adding a job for somebody, because then they're like, oh, like, why should I have this extra way of thinking? It's more like a set of beliefs.
Yeah.
And if the team can get behind that set of belief and that direction, your position, your positioning in the market, if they can get behind that belief, then you're going to find it a lot easier to be remembered consistently wherever a customer's touching, be it like with your finance team, with your sales team, say, for example, in an ad.
What do you think is kind of like the biggest gap in what the owners think is happening versus what's actually happening in a business? Obviously, I know you said it's being able to get your team on the same page, being able to have systems that are in place to make sure it's more streamlined. But what do you actually, when you look at it, you take an audit, you're like, you know what? I understand what you think is going on here, but here's what's actually happening from a third person's point of view. What are you seeing?
So the most consistent thing that I've recognized that the problem is actually the positioning or how you're seen is spending on, say, for example, a fresh website or ads or a marketing campaign or freaking rebrand, but like that's a whole other thing. And then it doesn't work to the way that they were thinking. And most of the time they're like, oh God, another agency that's not really getting it. And they're thinking it's the agency, it's the marketing. But most of the time it's not the marketing. It's what you've given them, right? It's like if you haven't given them anything distinctive to work off, they're just going off what else is happening in the industry, blending in the noise, or they're going off trends, again, blending in the noise.
Got it. So for you, looking back at the business, it's like the owners aren't giving the marketing people the right tools or the correct tools to help their business stand out after hiring them.
Yeah, I mean, marketing, sales, even hiring, for example. Maybe you have some people that haven't necessarily been doing things in the same kind of like with that same direction as you. And like there's that friction in the way that they're thinking. It's because you haven't passed through these the intrinsic values, these things that we stand for as a business. You've just gone in and been like, okay, these are the KPIs. These are the things that we want you to do. Are you trying to hire a robot or a human being?
So what would you say, like, if you could, not necessarily have to be monetization, but in terms of, because let me step back. When people hear branding, they think, oh, it's, the logos, it's the symbols, it's, how they interact with the clientele. But, when you hear high level business owners talk about branding, they talk about something that's long lasting and talk about how they relate to their clientele, how they make them actually feel, what they kind of connect them with. What do you think is the difference, whether it be money wise, whether it be, relationship with the client wise, is the difference between a business that's trying to push marketing with very little brand and a strong branded business? What would be kind of like differentiations that you see between those two?
The biggest thing is the mindset. It's not necessarily the money side of things. It's the mindset. If you're looking at things short term or long term, because your brand, how you're seen, that set of beliefs, these are all long term thinking. These are like, hey, how do we make sure that either this company lasts the length of time, however it's supposed to last, or it is sellable, rather than some companies where maybe it's the CEO, they're trying to leave their mark. Hey, I've just gone into this company and I'm trying to leave XYZ mark. And so they go in and change up a logo or whatever. It does nothing except for surface level, right? Or it's, at the beginning, and this is through no fault of the business owner. Like right at the beginning, we're just like, okay, we got to hustle. We got to do the thing. We got to get like and the force, like how long or how far ahead that we're looking isn't often on the long scale. Sometimes rarely. And I think those rarely are like, people like Apple, etc., where it has been able to get as big as it has because of when they started, they're like already had that vision of like, this is where it's going to go. And by that, they've also been able to invest and be like, okay, this might be like pricey now, but look where it's gotten them.
So where do you see yourself moving with your brand?
I've been tossing this up quite a bit in the last couple of years. And
has anything landed?
Yeah, so maybe something of like a consulting house, similar as the clothing brands like Dior or that sort of thing, like where they have like a bit of a house and they've got these different areas built out underneath it.
I'm not sure. Dior, you lost me at Dior. That's where I was like, wait, what?
Like
for someone who doesn't understand fashion or Dior, please elaborate because I have no idea what we're talking about.
That's a good point. I like that. Definitely could have explained that better.
I'm at a loss. I was like, I don't know.
No, that's on me. Like putting together a house of consultants, perhaps, where we're looking at different areas of the business and seeing how somebody can, as a business owner, can come to us and where we're supporting not just from that brand strategy or the positioning side, but also like on the finance side. But that's almost going into the agency territory, and that's not something that I want to step into. So I want to make it for a very specific audience set. Maybe it is like for businesses who want to push back on these shoulds, and they fall into that category where they're not just, no corporate allowed, right? No stiff upper lip, that sort of thing. And there is a reasoning behind that, right? Like the work that we do and the work that our clients do, it reflects back, right? So if you work with a corporation and it takes like months, if not years, for something to move forward, that also reflects back. They're like, oh, maybe it's not really working, blah, blah, blah. Like, we want those decisions. We want to test the market. We want to make sure that like things are actually moving forward. Things like we're staying agile.
So I'm going to step off in tangent for a bit, but for what you're building and what you're looking to build, let's say long-term, if everything goes correctly, what type of culture would you be trying to lean towards? How would you try to attach what you're currently building by yourself to building a team out and make sure that they adhere to those same beliefs in terms of business so that your clientele that you're working with still gets the same standard of treatment that you're currently giving them by yourself? How would you build that culture, and what would that culture look like for you, if you know?
I do not know that. That's something that I feel like you might need to come back to me. But I think there's different ways of looking at it. So like, say, for example, if I'm stepping back, like this is not for me, right? Like this is, I'm helping a business out, which is probably easier way to approach it, right? It's always harder for us to help ourselves. But like there's a couple of approaches. One is like, hey, we build it out under a specific framework, under a specific set of beliefs.
Yeah.
And so we're not, everyone is following these baseline like set of beliefs. Like we will do it in this kind of style, this kind of way. This is one way. Another way is to white labeling is another thing, but like again, you still maybe somebody will do something differently, and that's the part of us being human. Maybe we're not all going to do things in the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah, either having it as under the framework or having it under the brand. Like, hey, these are the things that we stand for and we represent as the overarching brand. So similar as you see with like Virgin.
Yeah.
The way of thinking, all the individual brands, there's variations of them. Like the logos look different and the experiences are slightly different, but that carrying sense, like what you can expect, the vibe, the general idea, that belief when you visit one of their branches, be it Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Money, you would expect the same sort of thing. So maybe something like that.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is because obviously you've built a strong network on LinkedIn, and obviously that comes with networking, it comes with connecting people, it comes with building relationships, and you have a unique way of making people feel warm, making them feel upbeat, and putting them in a great mood, in a great position. I can test for that myself, and I would hope that people or clients that you work with, they're currently getting that, but that they would continue to get that throughout your legacy or throughout whatever you've built with Badass, and being able to extend that over to the people that you hire and extend that to the culture of the company that you're building. And so that's why I was curious if you have this great person, and if you don't want to be the key person or the key man or woman in the business, you have to be able to step aside, and the business still has to have that same warm energy, has to have that same high energy, and be able to be ecstatic and just all around, just Beatrice. How can you imprint that into what you're doing right now? Have you seen other business owners do it well? Have you seen good examples of it in your ventures?
It's all in the hiring process. So the biggest thing that I'm seeing with like businesses that they're succeeding as a business, but also succeeding as a team is in their hiring. They're bringing what we were just talking about before, these values, this positioning into that hiring, and not just screw the resume.
I'm hearing that a lot lately.
Like, screw the resume. Somebody can be like, yeah, I've had a Harvard degree. And you're like, so what? That does not actually, like, what does it look like of you working the business? Are you going to have that same kind of energy? You can't tell that from a resume. So it is, having those distinct kind of questions that represent your company, the set of beliefs that you want to portray, your value system, that energy, for example. Is that high energy? Is it factual and blunt? And it's spending that time with that person. An interesting one that I heard was like, they don't do the interviews in an office. They go for a walk with them.
I love that. I love that. That sounds fantastic. I think going on walks with people, you start to realize who they really are versus just on paper. Oh, I really do like that.
So walking interviews. Yeah. So I think screw the resumes. They're cool, at least that they're knowledgeable in the area you want them to. But going beyond that, do they connect? Are there people that fit well? And even after the hiring, for example, stay in touch with them, that they're still connecting, because maybe there's like, somebody can perform for a while, but at a certain point that's going to change. And once, if that does change, being quick to either move them out or talk to them, be like, hey, what's going on?
See, I feel like you have a really good grasp of building relationships if it's not already proven by your track record on LinkedIn. But just the way you talk about people and how you've seen things work very well, I want to I want to know, I want to learn, I want to get a better idea of how you build relationships. So how do you go about, making people feel fantastic enough that they want to help you in your ventures, but also you want to help them in theirs, and actually build something strong and long lasting versus something transactional. Because I've been working on my ability to be less transactional and more conversational, more how can I help you? How can I be of service? And how can I build this long lasting relationship with this person? And someone like yourself, who is, I would say, very well knowledge in this venture, I just want to know, how do you do it? How do you go about it?
I'd say it's through witnessing things going very wrong, and learning from that. Thankfully, not myself, but the people like directly around me,
Okay.
seeing that happen in business where they've just been trigger happy of like, hey, let's do this together. And they're lost in that happiness of that first moment. Right. And it's the same as Dane. You're not just gonna jump straight into like, yeah, let's I don't know,
Yeah.
but whatever that relationship, let's just jump into this. It's understanding who that other person is. And that walking instead of an interview, I feel like
Yeah.
why don't we ask the questions and put people in situations that they weren't necessarily going to expect from that interaction, so that you're seeing more of their realness, more of their rawness,
Yeah.
and also coming at it from like without trying to show off. If one person shows that like, hey, look, I just fucked up, but then the other person automatically feels like, oh, I don't need to perform. I don't need to be like this certain level or version of myself. I mean, that's the big part of like this tattoo, the mask tattoo. It's like
Yeah.
we have different versions of ourselves just depending on who we're around, etc. So trying to see those different versions as many as we can. Be like,
I was
what's going on?
I was playing a game with a friend, and it was a conversation game in which you pick a card. It gives you a question to ask the other person to go more than surface level with your conversation. Because most people, you typically ask the basics: how's the weather? How's it going? How you feeling? And I don't like very shallow conversations. I like deep conversations. I like interacting and really understanding the person in front of me. And one of the questions was, is there a part of yourself that you show to one group of people that you don't necessarily show to another group of people? Like, is there separate aspects of you that you don't authentically show normally? And so I want to ask you that, Beatrice. Is there a part of yourself that most people see, and when you go home, it's just like a completely different person? Or are you trying to just be authentic through and through?
Don't we all have that though? Yes, to what you see on LinkedIn, what you see in person, it's all going to have that same baseline, but there's different elevations of that baseline. For example, like sometimes you're having a rough day and you're lower energy. There's different facets, but that baseline is always going to be the same. And that's the same thing with brands. And I'm gonna make this more like around the business, but in the business, it's not about copy and pasting one set of like specific message, because everyone that you hire is going to think about things differently. It's about them understanding that baseline and being able to reflect that in their own words.
Yeah.
So it becomes like there's a dynamic there, but like it's still, you're still giving off that same thing.
I think
So
I was watching a video.
yes.
I was watching a video of this guy explaining, I think it was branding. Yeah, I think it was branding. And the reason I asked that is because of this video. He was talking about branding. He was like, in one areas you may be this type of person, in some other areas you may be, you know, confident and strong and vocal. In some areas you may be, you know, more reserved, more laid back. And he was like, how people see you, even though it's the same you, it's still you. It's just, you know, how you present yourself in different areas. That is branding in a sense. Like how people are going to see you on LinkedIn versus how people are going to see you on YouTube, they're going to be different. It's still you, but their perception of you is going to be different. And I think that is what makes things click for me in my brain in terms of branding. Because for me, it was like, I need to be the same person on every single platform. But it switched to, you're going to be the same person, but perceived differently in different lenses. And so you just have to be able to adapt to whatever environment that is. And I think that completely just unlocked a whole new area in my brain of just how branding is. Because I thought I knew, but I'm humble enough to know that where I'm wrong and where I can learn in these experiences.
Yeah, it's like that base, that very core of that belief, regardless of whether you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, that should still be the same. It shouldn't be like, hey, I'm a golfer on YouTube, and then on LinkedIn, I'm a, I don't know, something completely different. Like
The not golfer.
not, yeah, I'm a, I don't know, corporate person. Like then you have that, like, okay, but what should I expect from this person? Right? Like you're gonna have those different perceptions, and that's the whole idea. But
so
what is that baseline?
Yeah. And so for you, did your baseline or did your knowledge or understanding of your baseline change growing your following on LinkedIn? Was it different in the beginning than it is now? What did that look like for you in the beginning?
So I think a lot of people have this when they're going on LinkedIn or they're starting their own thing. They want to do, they start wider, right? So when I first started, it was this was for a short time, covering the brand and marketing side of things. And then I was like, this makes no sense. But even to do one of those areas is a insane task. You know, just in marketing, there's like PR, there's SEO, there's websites, there's the list goes on, right? And then in brand, you know, there's the graphic side, there's the strategy side, there's the, so it took a moment there to recognize, hang on, what am I even saying here? This is not realistic. And that was the start of like me, the journey of like honing down into that differentiator of being like, you know what, I'm here around like the operations because of that operations background.
Yeah.
We're not doing things surface level. We want to make sure this sticks in the business, sticks with your team, and like it works. Like it's generating that revenue, it's generating that trust.
There's so many
Questions,
so many pieces to pick from. Well, yeah, because I mean, when most people are trying to build their online presence, let's say for lack of better words, and I'm guilty of this myself, it's starting super wide and not understanding why things aren't working, and you're just kind of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. But then let's say someone hires a marketing company and somehow things worked. It's still the same videos, it's still the same content, for lack of better words, but now it's somehow sticking. And I think one thing that people have missed out on is the idea of who are you talking to, you know, and what are you trying to get across to those individuals? And I think that's what separates the marketing company from just the entrepreneur, is they understand who they're talking to, what they're trying to say, and what they're trying to get across. And that's one of the things I try to pick up from these conversations I have with individuals like yourself, is how could I get better at doing that? And what needs to be said? What is going to relate to the people I'm trying to interact with, that A, I can help them, and B, how can I build a relation with them? How can I actually get them to want to have a relationship with me by saying the correct things or attracting them in the correct way? And so I think being a marketer, let me step back. Being a person who's good at sales, you can make millions. Being a person who's good at marketing, you can make billions. And that's simply just for the impact that you can create and the amount of people you can reach. And that's just one thing I've heard over the years, is just that marketing is just going to be the key to letting people know you. You know, whether they buy from you or not, it's just how many people know you is going to affect how many relationships you create and how much business you collect. And not to make it sound transactional, because I understand what it sounds like, but you have to be able to have relationships in order to create the business that you want. And I'm not sure if you agree with that or disagree with that. But I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
I don't think anybody would disagree unless they're robots. And even robots, I'm pretty sure GPT would be like, yes, of course you need to have relationships in a beep pop up. Okay. But you know what? I would go beyond just like trying to choose a specific niche or a specific, like we're trying to work with like males who are 35 to 65. Like, I think that is a backdated approach to this. And I think the thing that actually separates you is finding that specific moment, that specific deep-seated pain that your target audience is going through, or maybe it's earlier on, maybe it's later on, but finding that specific moment and then just speaking to that in all different kinds of ways, like fixes, different directions, different, like same thing is like what we do in conversations. So say we're having this conversation right now, like this is speaking to positioning from a different angle, where we're trying to fix that, like help businesses from a different approach. Are you asking me like the example of like how we would approach this, or what the example of like where that pain would be?
Give me an example of what type of pain would a business owner be looking for within their ICP?
So for me, it would be what I mentioned before. It would be what I mentioned before around, hey, like these are the things that you're seeing in marketing, and maybe you're feeling really annoyed. You're like, why does this keep on happening to me? Mm-hmm. Why do I keep on working with the wrong marketing, and now I have to go and find another one and spend even more money, drop another 40K, and it's starting to get annoying for them. So like that for me is like a specific moment that I'm like, okay, what are different ways that we can look at talking to? So say, for example, the marketing, the ways that they're handling it, the ways that the mistakes that could be happening around this time, and ways to resolve that, or it's a whole bunch of different directions. Yeah.
So for someone who's, let's say they're new to the business world, they're new to their business, what are some steps that they could take, in your opinion, to finding their ideal client, B, what kind of issues their problems their client are having that they can hone on or at least extract for their own business purposes.
Sorry, could you repeat that one again?
Yeah. So for someone starting a business, they might not necessarily know to go find their client or how to find their ideal client. Mm-hmm. And if they do find their ideal client, how can they relate to them? What type of problem are they having that they could stand out from to make their business more attractive, for lack of better words? How can they find that problem? What are steps that you've taken or you've seen people taking to find that problem you're talking about?
This is not a pretty answer, but it's having those conversations. It is legit having those conversations, working with those clients, spending as much time possible around them. Even if you connect with somebody and you're like, oh, like, look, I'm just trying to see what's going on with your space at the moment, or like, have you actually seen this? Like, am I going crazy? Like, put it in a way so that they don't think that you're just coming in there for free advice. Be like, look, like, I've heard this, but like, I could be completely wrong. Just like, am I going crazy, or like, is this a thing? And then use their words. The point is that record the calls. Record like the whatever messaging that you're having with them. Go through that. See what consistently comes up specifically to you, to how you operate, how you worked with them. Because that is going to build into your differentiation. That is going to build into the words that you want to use. To step away from like all the industry jargon. Be like, as soon as you start using their words in that messaging, even in the conversations, you're chatting with somebody later on down the track and you drop the words that somebody else has used and saying around that problem or around that frustration, they're more inclined to connect with you versus consultant speak, coach speak, which at this point it's quite overdone.
I think I understand what you mean, because when I was meeting people in oh my God, words. When I was meeting clients in person and I initially engaged a conversation of, I'm just curious on, what it looks like in your business. I've heard it somewhere else. I heard this issue somewhere else, but I'm curious if it's the same thing for your business. And from then we just kind of have a long conversation of what the problem is, what they've seen, what they're doing. And it started to now build that trust factor. And then it kind of naturally just ran into, all right, I want to see if I could help you with this. I'm not really sure if it's going to be a perfect fit, but I want to see if I could help with this. Because again, I'm hearing it somewhere other places. Is that something that you'd be interested in? Something like that? And again, I haven't heard a no since, but I know when it comes to outreach online, I've had difficulties only because it was a little transactional. So I think maybe if I approach it similar to how I approach it in person, it may come off differently. Because like you said, they're so used to people just reaching out and asking for stuff. But again, I'm new to the outreach online space. So, you're probably better at this than I am.
Look, I'm for sure definitely not an expert at this. I can point you to like 100 other on LinkedIn, but just purely on the experiences that I've had, don't just lean into 100% of like trusting this one way will be the success. This person, they must know it, right? Because say, for example, if you're leaning into, your voice or the conversational side, some people might be like, I know that we're all here on LinkedIn. We're all here for something. We're not just having a conversation for the sake of shits and giggles, right? We're here for whatever that purpose might be. Just get to it. I only have a limited amount of time in my day. This is one way of thinking. versus,
people.
oh, you know, the other
They
side
are
of
my
the
people.
ball, where it's like, stop trying to pitch slap me in the first message. Like they're just going directly into that. So you cannot please everybody. And I think
So would that
when
go
we're
on
going
to
into
who you're
that,
trying to target to as well?
yes and no, because regardless of that pre-work, you're still going to hit on people who have had different experiences. So I think going into having those conversations, whichever direction you choose, be it like, let me tell you about, like, or prompt specifically around the problem first and be like, not pitch slapping, but being like, hey, is this something that you're seeing? Or going like, how's it going, mate? Like that. That's two very different extremes. But whatever it is, expect negative replies. That's just part
comes
of
with
it.
the sales. Yeah.
It does. Like, there's no one winning formula that like everybody's just gonna love. And I think that's the biggest misconception around cold sales on LinkedIn, where they're just like, oh, this is something that's going to get you results. Yeah, it will. But you're also going to have people that are like, I dislike this, or they're going to get annoyed. They're going to block you.
Beatrice, you're a fantastic person to speak to. And
Likewise.
I will get close to the closing by just asking this very simple question. What has been your greatest experience from building what you're currently building right now? What has been the best part?
That moment when we hit onto that unique positioning and that differentiation. And there's that little sparkle in business owners' eyes. Because as soon as we have that, then like all the other business decisions get a lot easier. But like until then, yeah, it's frustrating. It feels like you're doing a lot of hard slug that you're going in circles. But that's the best moment for me. I love that moment where we're just like, we've done this work, and you've just like, this is your positioning. This is something that you can roll with for years. You can adapt. You can change it into, fit it into whatever situation, be it YouTube, be it LinkedIn, whatever else.
I love that. And so I will finish off with this because I am curious after our entire conversation and the people I'm trying to reach, of people just looking to do more, help other people, build something amazing. If you and I were on our deathbeds right now and you can leave one long lasting message to the people listening or the people in your life, what would that one message be?
I think I'd loop that back to that, the why, right? What are things that you're holding back from because of the shoulds in your life? Because what if you were on the deathbed instead? What would you regret not doing that? If so, this is a good time to start doing that thing, because you don't know whether tomorrow is going to come or not.
I love it. Beatrice, thank you. For everyone else,
No,
I
thank
will
you
see
so
you
much for
on the
having
next
me.
episode. I will see you guys later. Thank you. Bye.
Same.
Nah,
Are they-
because there's the Rogue one's the boxy one, and then the microphone's like the standing microphone that's like pointed at you when you speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but they're both microphones.
Yeah, well, you just said I
so
don't
are
know which one to
these.
get. Yeah, these are just
Yeah, I
more
mean,
convenient.
that's true. We can record things like out on the road. Though that being said, like wind and like it does pick up things, the background noise, when you're not talking.
Ooh, wait, you
So
gotta
when you're
get the. There's a wait. Well, this one comes with like a wind
It comes with a
protector,
bit.
like this part. And so you put it on and protect from like any wind noise that may come out, and it's just attached to this.
Okay.
So it makes it a lot easier to get the wind noise out of the system.
I mean, technically this has like the little fluff on it, but like maybe it needs to be more fluffier. Do you think if we just find some fluff and stick the fluff on?
I mean, do you have any animals? Do you have any pets? See, yeah, just snip, snip,
No,
snip.
I
Glue
don't.
it on.
You know what? I'm gonna go like out onto the lane and I'll be like, can I cut a bit of your dog's hair? It'll be like a free haircut.
Face haircut. I just need the fur, just a little bit.
And then like look at me going, what the fuck is wrong with you?
See, considering you only need a small little patch, it's just gonna be a patch of hair missing from the animal.
Imagine like I'll just be like, I'll convince them. I'm like, I'm gonna give them a free haircut. I'll like snip off this enough for like this, and then I'll run away. They're like,
just this part. Is that considered assault?
With...
No, maybe.
To a dog, maybe. Depending. Like,
oh god.
Or like, you know, find one with like an extra bushy tail. Find a bunny rabbit.
Oh god. You're not going near my animals. I'm just letting you know. You're not. My animal's gonna come back butchered with hair. Just patches. All around.
It wasn't me. It had lice. I was healthy.
Oh my god. That's what she's gonna say to the police. Okay. Okay. I gotta recompose myself now.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm not crying. We're
All
not
right.
crying. It's fine. That's
Good
one way
behind
to
the
start a
scenes.
podcast. We're not
Yeah,
crying.
behind the scenes is definitely, we love this. Anyway.
That is the best part. Like sticking that right at the end for people to be like, you know, if just in case you got through all of this, all the unhinged and the seriousness, then there's a bit at the end where we're just we lost the plot.
Going off. Yeah. Just going on like 3 tangents. And it's fine. It's fine. People love to see it. It's fine. Speaking of fine,